I've always believed.
Okay, on the beat.
You see, I've always believed you gotta give to get to know. Oh yeah. Oh Lord. And if you don't give it, you won't get it. That's right. Well, oh Lord. You see, I've always believed. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Gang stalking targeted in America, just the facts. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video on gang stalking, also known as organized harassment, abuse by proxy, or political repression, is because I'm a victim of this crime, and also because of the New York Times article which discredits targeted individuals, which are people who are victims of this crime, which is sponsored, sanctioned by the state and government, which is a crime that violates their human rights as well as their constitutional rights. Also, the phenomenon known as gang stalking or targeted individuals is now becoming more mainstream as more targeted individuals are exposing this crime against humanity. And I feel that the New York Times article was a way to discredit these targeted individuals, so by the time they reach mainstream or bring more awareness to this crime in public, they'll be discredited and look as crazy. I feel this is a way of the system or the government to discredit us through the media. That's why I had to prepare this video and make this, and that's why I prepared factual information on the phenomenon known as gang stalking, because of the New York Times article, which is trying to discredit targeted individuals to try to make them look crazy. And also at the same time, I feel that targeted individuals are not presenting the information properly or using the proper terms to describe what's really going on to them. So at the same time, they make themselves look crazy. But that's why I presented only factual information and the real terminology that should be used to describe this phenomenon known as gang stalking or organized harassment. Because once we present the information properly as well as the facts, we can actually expose this crime. Also, it's not just the New York Times that have been discrediting targeted individuals. Through other forms of media as well as social media, there have been a campaign to discredit targeted individuals. But I have factual information, keyword factual information, that proves everything is true, from the gang stalking, the air stalking, as well as the electronic harassment and other components of this program, which is used to violate an individual's constitutional and human rights. Also, I will show you how this form of proactive policing, whether it's done on a local, state, federal, military, or a state-sponsored proxy level, contradicts itself. I will use examples from the recent Orlando shooting to show how this program contradicts itself and how it's not meant to prevent crime, but more to entrap and agitate to create crime. Also, I will get down to the facts to let you know what this program truly is: a form of covert policing using known unethical methods to neutralize, take down, entrap, and as well as cause devastating effects on a targeted individual's life using government mediums and resources integrated into this form of policing. Furthermore, I feel that targeted individuals are bringing more awareness to this topic known as gang stalking and organized harassment. I feel that these recent articles are meant to demoralize us and make us think we're not bringing any awareness, but the fact that they wrote this article means that we are. So I feel that we have to get on board on YouTube and start presenting more facts and trying to rationalize our story by presenting also factual information about the way they're attacking us and also our video evidence. So we are making a difference. So we have to actually go more harder in presenting our evidence and bringing more awareness to this topic. And how could I tell that we're making a difference? Because right now, as I'm making this video, I'm being gang stalked right now. So what does that tell you? Also, as targeted individuals, we have to come up with solutions on a targeted individual level, as well as link up with other targeted individuals, as well as get solutions from our government, whether it be on a state, local, or federal level. But I will explain that deeper in the video later. And definitions and terminologies. The definition of gang stalking, organized harassment, and covert harassment is a systematic form of harassment and control done by a group of people in an organized fashion to unethically using unethical means to harass and control somebody, to have devastating effects in that person's life. Now, those devastating effects I'll explain deeper later on. Same terminologies that targeted individuals use, such as gang stalking, organized harassment, and covert harassment, those who are perpetrating this attack on us, they don't use these same terminologies to describe the targeted individual or this program of domestic terrorism. These are some of the terminologies that they use, such as human test subject, proactive policing, human experimentation, investigation, military assistant police, and I have the document to prove that. It's from 1984. I will show you that later. Another term they use is research, health codes or health code violations. Another term they use is eugenics program, but that terminology, they don't use that anymore because a long time ago, each state in America had its own eugenics program. So they probably use health and mental hygiene as the proper modern term. Also, another term they use is threat assessment or threat assessment teams or psychological warfare. But since it's illegal to conduct psychological warfare on the public, they use psychological operations. And another term they use is behavioral modification, or they use psychotherapy. And another term they use is psychiatric referrals. And that's why a lot of targeted individuals, like when they use these terms like gang stalking, organized harassment, or covert harassment, these are not like legal terms. Like these terms that I explained that the perpetrators use, these are actually documented and legal terms. You can actually find them in legal documents, such as proactive policing. One of the definitions of proactive policing is to have a police presence to deter criminal activities. So that will explain why as soon as you walk out your house, all of a sudden police and ambulance will just zip down, and it happens more than once. Like almost every time when you come out your house, all of a sudden there's like 2 police cars zipping, just flashing their lights as soon as they pass by your house, because that's actually a form of deterring criminal activity. So obviously somebody classified you as a criminal, even though you're not really a criminal. But that's why you have to use these like proper terms, like investigation. Some agency can be conducting an investigation against you, but as soon as you use the term like gang stalking, organized harassment, and covert harassment, these are like layman's terms. Like they don't hold no weight legally. And that's why when you use these proper legal terms, you can help people have a better understanding of what gang stalking is, and also have a better way to explain yourself about what gang stalking is. Instead of saying I'm being gang stalked, you could say I'm being harassed and have my rights violated through proactive policing, or through an investigation, or because of health codes, or because of a threat assessment evaluation, or through threat assessment teams. Because when people look up threat assessment teams or human experimentation, or they look up proactive policing or an investigation, these documents will appear in state documents, federal and legal state documents, and proactive policing, investigations, threat assessment teams, they do exist. But when you just say gang stalking, it just shows things from a TI perspective, but it shows the government side of. And that's why when you use these proper legal terms, you can help people have a better understanding of what gang stalking is, and you could also explain your case better and bring more awareness to it. Instead of saying I'm being gang stalked, you could say I'm being harassed and have my human rights as well as constitutional rights being violated under the guise of proactive policing or an investigation or through threat assessment teams. Because when you look up proactive policing, investigation, or threat assessment teams, they appear in state documents, keyword state documents, and federal documents. So that would actually prove that the federal government or the state government or local government has some involvement in you being gang stalked. And that's the proper terminology for it. And that's the problem with a lot of targeted individuals. Like, we're using these like layman terms, and these terms don't hold no weight legally. So instead of using these terms like gang stalking, we gotta start using these proper terms, because these terms appear in legal documents, federal, state, and local legal documents. Also, when you look up proactive policing, you'll find that the tactics that are used in proactive policing are similar to the tactics that the perps use in gang stalking. That also applies for threat assessment teams. There are many people who are wondering why they've been gang stalked for so many years. If you look up threat assessment teams, you'll realize that they could decide for how long they want you to be on this watch list or this threat assessment list. Also, if you look up human experimentation, they could actually conduct experimentation on you if you consider it a threat to yourself, and also health code violations too. Like, all these tactics that these proactive policing, investigation, and health codes and threat assessment teams use, they are similar to tactics of gang stalking. But when you keep saying gang stalking, all you get is the TI perspective. But when you say proactive policing, or threat assessment teams, that's more valid. Like, you can actually look at the documents for these government procedures, and they describe the same thing that the perpetrators use when they gang stalk the targeted individual. So that's why. And then you match the documents together to prove that. Also, one more proper terminology that the perpetrators of this attack use are occupational health codes. Keyword occupational health codes. Look that up, because when you look that up, you realize most of these programs are being done by the state. A few of them are actually being done by the federal government, and some are rarely done by the military, and also some can be done by proxies, which are sponsored or sanctioned by the state, federal government, or the military to do such. I'll explain later in this video. Now, the purpose of gang stalking, those who sanction and sponsor the attack or declare this attack on you, they want you to either become homeless, commit suicide, be institutionalized, or in jail, or they're using you for behavioral modification study, or to discredit you, or to leave you destitute, or to kill you in a way that cannot be traced to them. And they do this through provocation, trying to set you up, controlling and interrupting your life to guide you to do something outside of your nature. And they do this through provocation by constantly. Now, gang stalking attacks many aspects of a targeted individual's life, such as financial. One financial attack is to make you lose your job by having people who already work there coerced or persuaded to harass you or mob you, or to cause little trouble with you at your workplace. Or they could insert people there for the sole purpose, under the guise of an investigation, or to keep an eye on you to mob harass you or psychologically abuse and harass you, or to spread slander and defamation on you covertly. And another way they financially attack you is to have you spend money repelling this attack, such as moving or buying equipment, such as to protect yourself from the electronic harassment and other forms of attacks and other various financial attacks to stress you out financially. Gang stalking also attacks the social aspect of a targeted individual's life. This is done by damaging the relationships of friends, family, and associates of the targeted individuals. This is done by spreading slander and defamation about the targeted individual to his friends, family, and associates. It can be done the other way around by spreading false information to the targeted individual about his friends, family, and associates to him. This in turn will make the targeted individual not trust anybody. This is a way to isolate the targeted individual, and thus in turn, if the attacks are severe, the targeted individual will in turn not trust anybody and isolate himself or herself. In turn, you do the perpetrator's job for free, and that's what they want you to do. Gang stalking also attacks the physical aspect of a targeted individual's life. One way this is being done is through microwave or directed energy weapons. These devices can cause pain and physical trauma to the targeted individual. I will explain this later on in a deeper manner in the video. Another way they cause pain and physical trauma to the targeted individual is through covert drugging. This is done by covertly adding drugs or poison to the targeted individual's food, drink, or anything that comes into physical contact with the targeted individual's body. Another way they cause physical trauma to the targeted individual is by creating an artificial stress in the targeted individual's life. A targeted individual already has his natural stress to deal with, but by constantly harassing him and agitating him, they create an artificial stress that causes physical stress, pain, and trauma into the targeted individual's body. So it's like you have your natural stress to deal with, and then also you have this artificial stress that is being induced onto you against your will by these perpetrators by constantly harassing and attacking you. And stress also has a physical effect on the body in the long term. Also, gang stalking affects your psychological, spiritual, and moral aspect of your life. This is done by constant harassment. They constantly follow you everywhere you go. You can go to the store, you can go outside your house, you can go to the park, and they will constantly follow you. And also, the dirty mind games that they do. These dirty mind games are to reduce one's morale and keep one in a constant spirit of fear. Also, it attacks the targeted individual's peace of mind. The targeted individual is constantly wondering, why are they doing this to him or her, or who's doing it, when did it start, and why they're doing it. Also, when the gang stalkers attack you spiritually and morally, they will constantly harass you. This in turn, if you do not understand the deeper meaning of this attack, it will turn you into a cold-hearted person. Do not let their attack turn you into a cold-hearted person. This is to neutralize your natural personality, and you will become a cold-hearted person. So understand that. Do not let their constant ruthlessness and meanness turn you into a cold-hearted person or shut down your natural personality.
We're about to get into the topic of VIPs, Volunteers in Police Service, otherwise known as National Neighborhood Watch. And we're going to talk about how they play a role in targeting individuals, gang stalking, community harassment, and unjustified surveillance. Real quick before I get into the topic, I want to thank all my new subscribers. Thanks for tuning in. I also want to state for the record that I don't claim to have all the answers. All I have is my experience, my knowledge, and my research that's brought me to these justified conclusions. So I want to tie it all in together with a few of my other videos when I just walked through my neighborhood and I showed you the neighborhood watch sign, and also in my very first video when I talked about the lies, myth, and deception factor. So because a lot of people think these people are angels or aliens or demons or whatever the case may be, but what I think they are people working in volunteers in police service and other agencies. So let's just deal with this one really quick. And right off top, you see it's funded by the Bureau of Justice and the Department of Justice, right? Now let's get into relationships to community and policing. This is important. The Volunteers in Police Service program is a logical outgrowth of a growing trend of community policing initiatives nationwide. So they're doing this everywhere. Community or problem-oriented policing programs have built strong bridges between law enforcement agencies and citizens they serve. A logical expansion of this collaboration is to allow citizens to engage with their local law enforcement agencies to work together even more closely in enhancing policing services. Now, once you understand how the Patriot Act and the Justice Department all play a role in gang stalking and targeting individuals, you'll understand how these people are able to get away with this, and they have all this information at their disposal. They're working with the police, the regular people in the community, and wherever you go, you can move anywhere. You see that sign, they're close by, trust me. And they get your information as soon as you touch down wherever you're going. Now, if you take a look at their website, you can start your own neighborhood watch program, or you can locate one. That's crazy, right? So I also want to go into some of the justice programs. Like I discussed rope. If you checked out my other video, I discussed rope that was implemented in 1983 as an experiment on juveniles through the Justice Department, right? Now, check out the verbiage, check out the wording on this Weed and Seed, National Weed and Seed program funded by the United States Department of Justice. So I'm going to go into it a little bit. It says, develop a comprehensive multi-agency strategy to control and prevent violent crime, drug trafficking, and drug-related crime in targeted neighborhoods. See, they target neighborhoods also, not just people. You could pull up, you could move into a targeted neighborhood, and you can become a target of these types of programs. Number 2, coordinate and integrate existing and new initiatives to concentrate resources and to maximize their impact on reducing and preventing violent crime, drug trafficking, and gang activity. So once again, they're talking about new initiatives. When new laws are passed, like they do, like the Patriot Act, they could implement that into the way they police society. Number 3, mobilize community residents in the targeted areas to assist law enforcement in identifying and removing violent offenders and drug traffickers from the community, and to assist other human service agencies in identifying and responding to service needs in the targeted area. So this Weed and Seed program, like National Neighborhood Watch, that's watching you and they're reporting you to the law enforcement to achieve these goals. Weed and Seed integrates law enforcement, community policing, prevention, intervention, treatment, and neighborhood restoration efforts. The Weed and Seed program is being implemented in more than 150 communities across the country. Now, this was back in the 80s when they wrote this. 150 communities already. And what was some of their, removing violent offenders, identifying and removing violent offenders, the same as the repeat offender program enforcement that they implemented in 1983. So right now, these are facts. These are proofs that these government agencies they mobilize as a community, They target areas, they target people, and they report to the law enforcement about these people, and they are not the police. So with that, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to leave some links. I want you to check it out. I'm going to be back with a couple of more topics that's going to discuss how all these things tie in together with the Patriot Act, with Homeland Security, and with the Department of Justice and Health and Human Resources.
A few people sent me the video. Now, I chopped it up because I just wanted to show you the main parts of how they just focused in on Kanika the whole time. They were she was the main girl they focused on was her. And part of the video when he said, "What's your name?" He said, "People have been asking about you. People looking for you. Let people know how to find you." It was just, it was very strange. He was joking, but there was a lot of truth into what he was saying. Now, a lot of you who don't know what gang stalking is, because a lot of people in our society, in our generation, people don't read, people don't study. People assume and go off their feelings. That's just the generation we live in. They assume and go off of their feelings on everything, okay? Study what gang stalking is. Gang stalking is when the individual is targeted by another group of people, whether it's for payback, revenge, or gang initiation, or just for fun. I'm going to say it again. Gang stalking is when a person is targeted for revenge, or they're trying to get back at them for some gang beef, or gang initiation, or just for fun. That's what it's for. They target an individual for revenge, get back, gang beef. They target an individual for gang initiation or just for fun. And when this story first came out, there was a guy Monifa was arguing with on the internet that said that Monifa helped set Kanika up because these guys wanted to get back at Kanika's brother. This is what the main thing was about when it first came out. Well, a lot of their how can I put it? A lot of their posts was deleted on the internet. A lot of the how can I put it? When they first started posting, when the case came out, it was a lot of evidence on the internet that was deleted. Okay, a lot of confessions. Okay, and a lot of stuff that made a lot of sense to me. Okay, now they said Monifa helped them set up Kanika for her gang initiation and for them to get back at Kanika's brother, gang stalking. In this video, the guy kept the video on Kanika. He was focusing in on Kanika. He was honing in on Kanika. The camera was following Kanika. Then he said, "People are looking for you. They're trying to find you. Let us know how to find you." Kept the camera on her. And for some reason, the end of the video cuts off because even when she leaves and walks across the street, he follows her across the street. Okay? Keeps the camera on her. Just letting the camera is showing you she's targeted. She's an op. She's a person of interest by the gang. She's the one we're looking at. She's the one they're talking about. She's the one that they're plotting against. Okay? Gang stalking is real. A lot of you who don't know it, study, read for yourself. I keep telling you, when I do these cases and when I do my videos, look the stuff up yourself. Okay, read and study for yourself. Because one thing that irritates me is people who don't arm themselves with knowledge and wisdom. It pisses me off. I'm a Negro from the hood that just educated myself. All right, I'm from the streets of Philly. I ain't no better than nobody else. I'm just a dude that has informed himself with a lot of knowledge. Okay, you get it? And God has also given me a lot of divine insight and wisdom into a lot of cases. He's given me a lot of spiritual gifts and given me revelation on a lot of things, whereas I can break down a lot of stuff and point out things that people not paying attention to, or I can connect the dots on a lot of cases that he shows me, and I can inform people on what to look out for. Okay, gang stalking is real. Understand, this young lady was gang stalked, and like I say, people keep asking me, what's my take on the entire case? Monifa was paid to set Kanika up, to lure her to the hotel. She dropped Kanika off. She did not lose her. She dropped Kanika off. Okay. The guys that sexually assaulted her, they were paid to put her in the freezer, and Rosemont got her organs, okay? That's how the series of events went down. Monifa got her to the hotel. Her and Shemaya got paid to drop her off. The guy sexually assaulted her and got paid to put her in the freezer because Rosemont get paid for organs, all right? I'm your boy Zillionaire. Go study gang stalking. Go research gang stalking and go research a lot of other things.
Crazy, man. You know what? When you said that last time, I was kind of tripping, right? But now, you're right. I am crazy. But you know what else? I don't give a fuck. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.